What's up guys, Anubhav here. Welcome back to a brand new video here on the channel, and it's been some time since we did a mobile videography tips video, and with the test of time, smartphone cameras have gotten so much better right now in 2020. And with the current lockdown and everything and everybody home quarantining themselves, I thought it would be a good idea to brush over some new tips on how you can get some amazing smartphone videography content right with your phone just by understanding a few tips and tricks. So if this video interests you, be sure to like, subscribe, and without any further ado, let's jump right into the tips. Alright guys, so my first tip for you to get better videos straight out from your smartphone is to get an application, a third-party application that lets you access all manual controls, especially when it comes to video. Now, we've made a ton of videos here on this channel talking about different camera applications that grant you manual controls when you take pictures, but video is a different game altogether. But don't worry, I've got you covered with applications that can get you manual video controls as well, such as Filmic Pro and a few other applications out there like manual camera and open camera, and there's a card above if you want to check those videos out to find out the application that suits you. But essentially the point of having a third-party application for you to control the different aspects of shooting while you're shooting is that while playing around with different settings of ISO, shutter speed and aperture, you essentially get to experience actual video recording capabilities like you would if you would be shooting with a actual camera. Now the thing is, smartphone cameras are very good when it comes to image qualities, and I think almost any phone today can shoot in 4K 24 frames per second or 4K 30 frames per second. But having a few things such as locking the exposure, having a constant shutter speed, having a particular aperture to get a particular effect would really help you dial in the look that you're looking for. So tip number one is finding an application that gives you the tools at your disposal that you need to essentially get better video out of your phone. This could be any application. I've got a ton of videos here on the channel, so you can check them out and find out the app that works for you. Do that and I'm sure your videos will turn out much better. Alright guys, so tip number two is about composition, and I know a lot of people tell me that I'm shooting with a phone, I cannot get good quality content, I cannot shoot stuff that doesn't look that good. If I had a DSLR, I probably could have done a lot better. And while having an actual camera gives you the preferences of obviously changing different lenses, having superior image quality, something that does not change at all are the composition rules. So obviously you wouldn't change the rule of thirds if you were shooting with a phone instead of an actual camera, right? Similarly, the rules of symmetry and leading lines don't really change unless you're shooting with a phone or with a camera. These are things that are theoretical practices on how you can get more aesthetically pleasing stuff in front of the camera, in front of your audience. So knowing about these things, whether it's leading lines, whether it's symmetry, whether it's the rule of thirds, learning about different types of shots and what they essentially convey to your audience is a great way to amp up your mobile videography game, whether you're shooting a travel video or you're shooting your very first short film and you don't have a lot of budget and you're shooting with a phone. So I'll link below a couple of articles that I think will definitely help you enhance your knowledge about the different kind of shots, as well as what do they actually convey on a psychological level to the human eyes and the human brain. And I think by implementing them, it wouldn't matter in the first place whether you were shooting with a phone or with the camera that is rolling this video right now, because these rules stay the same no matter what you're shooting with. As long as it can record, these rules can be applied to that. So use these rules and I'm sure your footage will turn out much better. Alright guys, so in my previous video, when I made a video on this topic, I had spoken extensively on how shaky footage can essentially ruin a cinematic video. And if you're shooting with a smartphone, the number one thing that you should keep in mind is to shoot with a proper tripod or a gimbal so that your footage does not turn out shaky. Now most phones these days have OIS or EIS, either of those or a hybrid of those really helps you get shaky footage. And chances are if you're using a late 2019 or a early 2020 phone, you also have something which is the ultra wide lens. And if you're shooting video on an ultra wide lens, you get that super steady look, so you don't really have to worry about shaky footage in the first place, even if you're shooting handheld. Another way to be really sure that your footage is not shaky is, shooting in a higher frame rate and essentially having the right settings spanned out in your phone as well as in your mind before you step out to shoot. So if you're taking a shot which is for a travel video, it wouldn't really hurt to take it in a higher frame rate, and most phones can shoot, up to 60 frames per second even in higher resolutions such as 4K. Now keep in mind, most mirrorless cameras and DSLR cameras cannot take 60 frames per second at 4K. In fact, my Sony a6300 only takes 4K 30 frames per second. That's the upper cap for quality that I have. However, if you have a phone that can take 60 frames per second, that is a very, very good thing, and you should always shoot in a higher frame rate because that gives you the flexibility to slow it down later when you're editing the video. And a 60 frames per second video, when it is slowed down to either 30 or 24, will obviously be slowed down and will look much smoother, and thereby by slowing a video down you would also reduce the jitters as well as the shake, the minor turbulences that occur when you're shooting with the phone without any gimbal or any tripod support. So if you're doing that, if your shot allows you to shoot a particular clip in slow motion, definitely do that, because while you're editing the video, it's going to be a boon and it's going to save your project in case it was ruined by that one shaky shot. So definitely check it out, and let's move on to the next tip. Alright, so tip number 4 is about post-production and why post-production is still king, especially if you don't have a high budget in shooting the video, which in this case is your phone. So whether you're using a low-end or a mid-range Android phone or even a high-end Android phone, the only way to really make it stand out from an amateur video to relatively professional is through post-production. And I think a lot of people underestimate the amount of stuff that you can do in the editing process of a video. Everything from coloring it to adding certain sound effects as well as sound design with correct background music, correct transitions, and color grading can transform a video from a very amateur clip to something that looks incredibly professional. Let me just show you guys a sequence of clips without and with editing, and I think you guys can be the judge of it. See how that worked out? Exactly. So try and edit your videos in a good way. Learn different software such as Premiere Pro, Final Cut Pro, whatever it is. And if you don't have a computer or a laptop to edit, click on the card above, because I've got a video on how you can edit your videos straight from your Android phone using a couple of third-party applications. So if that is of any interest to you, you can definitely check that out. But post-production is king, and you can fix a lot of things that you couldn't really, think of while you were shooting it. So definitely give that a bigger importance when you're shooting with your phone. Alright guys, last but definitely not the least, I'm going to leave you guys with some inspiration for the 5th tip, which is changing your mindset. See, a lot of people seem to again forget about the fact that you are shooting to create something creative, which is a visual art that you're going to present to your audience. No matter at what scale it is shot at, no matter which camera you use to shoot it, I think being overly critical of ourselves that, hey, this is shot from a phone, it's not going to be that good, having that mindset really slows you down from, creating something that could be really incredible. Some of the earliest filmmakers used to use, really bad cameras, at least in current generation standards, and by doing those things and by evolving, they turned out to be the greatest filmmakers of all time. So learning how you use the equipment that you own is much better than gawking or dreaming about the equipment that you will own or dream of owning one day. That's how you get there, by using the equipment that you own. So clear that mindset up and just shoot with what you have and just create content because you love it, not because it can shoot in 8K or in 4K. I'm going to leave you guys with that, and I think this is going to definitely help you, especially in this quarantine period where we don't really have a lot to do. Think about all of these things, try a couple of these tips, and let me know if they helped you at all. Until then, this is Anubhav signing out. I'll catch you guys next time. You guys have a great day. Peace out.